You ever had that one neighbor who just refuses to respect boundaries? Well, let me tell you about the day. Karen's son trespassed onto my property and thought he could do whatever he wanted. He came onto my land, marched straight toward my private pond, and had no idea what was waiting for him. A natural mud trap that swallowed him whole up to his thighs. And let me be crystal clear. I didn't lift a single finger to help him out. See, I live in a quiet rural area, tucked away with some land that I take pride in. It's my sanctuary, my peace, my escape from the noise of the world. My pond isn't just water. It's something I worked hard to maintain, stocked with fish, and kept clean for my family. But every paradise has its disturbance. And mine came in the form of my entitled neighbor, Karen. Karen is the type who believes rules don't apply to her, or her son. She's the kind of person who thinks the entire neighborhood is her playground. Over the months, I noticed her teenage boy cutting across my yard, tossing trash, even skipping rocks into my pond as if it were his own. I gave warnings, polite ones at first. I said, hey, this is private property. Stay off. But with Karen, warnings don't stick. She brushed it off like I was the problem for even mentioning it. The final straw came one summer afternoon. I heard splashing near my pond and rushed out to find her son knee-deep in the water. Muddy footprints trailing across my property like a slap in the face. He wasn't just trespassing, he was stomping on the one place I cherished most. Now, here's the thing about my pond. The far end has this patch of thick, heavy mud, nature's own quicksand. It's not dangerous if you know where you're stepping, but if you go in blind, you're stuck. And that's exactly where Karen's son wandered. One second he was smirking, flicking water with his hands like he owned the place, and the next, squelch. His legs sank straight down. I stood at the edge, arms crossed, watching him flail. "Help! I can't move!" he shouted, panic rushing across his face. But I didn't move an inch. I knew he wasn't in life-threatening danger, just trapped, frustrated and humiliated. And honestly, it was about time he learned what trespassing really meant. Karen's scream carried across the yard before I even saw her. "Jason, what are you doing in there?" She came running from her porch, sandals slapping against the grass. And when she finally spotted her son stuck in the mud pit at the edge of my pond, her face turned a shade of red I'd never seen before. Jason, struggling with every ounce of his strength, waved frantically. "Mom, I can't get out! Help me!" His legs were buried up to the knees, his hands clawing at the wet ground only to sink deeper with every pull. Now, if you're thinking Karen rushed to save him like any concerned parent would, think again. No, the first thing she did was glare at me, as if I'd set some kind of trap specifically to capture her precious boy. "What did you do to my son?" she shrieked. I folded my arms and kept my voice calm. "I didn't do anything, Karen. Your son trespassed. That mud's been there long before you moved into this neighborhood. If he stayed where he was supposed to, he wouldn't be in this mess." Her hands flew to her hips, classic Karen stance. "Don't you dare blame Jason. He's just a kid. You're the adult. You should have been watching your property better." That was the exact moment I realized she wasn't just entitled. She was delusional. Instead of helping her son, who was now sinking inch by inch into cold muck, she decided to launch into a lecture about how I was the problem. Jason's cries grew louder. "Mom! Please!" But she just snapped at me again. "You're going to pull him out right now!" I shook my head slowly, a hint of a smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. "No, Karen. I told him to stay off my property. I told you to keep him away. Actions have consequences. He's not in danger, just stuck. Let him work for it." Karen gasped like I'd slapped her across the face. "You're heartless! What if he gets hurt? What if—" "Then maybe," I interrupted firmly, "he'll finally learn what no trespassing means." For a few tense moments, Karen and I locked eyes. She wanted to scream, maybe even call the cops. But she couldn't deny the truth staring her in the face. Her son had trespassed, ignored warnings, and now he was paying the price in mud and embarrassment. Jason groaned, pulling harder, only to fall forward on his chest, covered in wet dirt. Karen shrieked again, but still refused to step into the muck herself. And that's when I realized the real showdown hadn't even started yet. By now, Jason was sobbing, his arms caked in mud as he tried and failed to pull himself free. The more he fought, the deeper he went, until the muck clung around his waist like a seatbelt he couldn't escape. Karen stomped her foot on the bank and pointed at me with fury burning in her eyes. "I'm calling the police," she shouted, yanking her phone from her pocket. "You're going to jail for this!" "This is child endangerment." I raised an eyebrow. "Really, Karen? Go ahead, call them. I'll tell them your son trespassed after I warned you both multiple times. You think they're going to side with you, or with the property owner who's minding his own business?" Her lips curled, but her fingers hesitated over the keypad. She knew I was right, but Karen wasn't the type to admit defeat. Instead, she started yelling at Jason again. "Why can't you just climb out? Stop making me look like a fool." Jason whined. Mom, I can't! It's too heavy! His tears mixed with streaks of mud across his cheeks, making him look more pitiful by the second. I crouched down, keeping my voice even. Jason, listen carefully. If you stay calm and shift your weight slowly, you'll free yourself. Don't thrash. Don't pull straight up. Work one leg at a time. Karen snapped at me immediately. Don't you dare tell my son what to do. You've done enough! I stood back up, exhaling through my nose. Then you do it, Karen. Step into the mud and help him yourself. That silenced her. She glanced at her spotless capri pants and perfectly painted toenails. The thought of ruining them in the muck made her recoil instantly. I can't step in there. It's disgusting. The hypocrisy was almost laughable. Here she was, demanding I dive in. But when faced with the option herself, she refused. Meanwhile, Jason kept begging, his voice cracking with desperation. At that point, a couple of other neighbors had wandered over, drawn by the noise. They stood at a distance, whispering to each other, watching the circus unfold. And trust me, nothing humbles a Karen faster than an audience. One neighbor muttered, "Didn't he tell them to stay off his property?" Another replied, "Yep, saw it myself." Karen's face paled. The realization hit her. Not only was she losing the argument, she was losing it in front of witnesses. But instead of backing down gracefully, she doubled down. "If you don't pull him out right now, I swear I'll sue you," she screeched. And that's when I decided enough was enough. The air was tense, thick with Karen's shrieking threats and Jason's pitiful cries. The neighbors stood quietly, arms crossed, clearly siding with me. For the first time, Karen realized she was outnumbered. Her voice no longer carried authority, only desperation. "Jason, listen to me," I said firmly, ignoring Karen altogether. "Shift your left leg slowly. Wiggle it. Don't yank. Then lean your weight forward and free the other. You'll get out if you stop panicking." Jason hiccuped through his tears, but did as I said. Slowly, painfully, his leg slid free with a disgusting slurp. He fell sideways, splattering mud across his shirt, but one leg was free. Karen gasped like it was some miracle she herself had conjured. "Good," I continued, calm as ever. "Now the other one. Don't fight it. Ease it out." Jason gritted his teeth, groaning as he worked the second leg loose. When it finally popped free, he scrambled onto solid ground, coated in mud from his waist down. He looked like a swamp monster, exhausted and humiliated. Karen rushed forward, arms out like she'd been the one to rescue him. "Oh, my poor baby. Look at you! You're filthy! This is all his fault." She shot daggers at me. But before I could reply, one of the neighbors cut her off. "Actually, Karen, we all saw what happened. He went onto his property after being told not to. That mud's been there forever. If anyone's at fault, it's you for not teaching your kid to respect boundaries." Karen froze. For once, she didn't have a snappy comeback. Her eyes darted between the group of neighbors, all nodding in agreement, and me, standing calm and unbothered. Her power had evaporated in an instant. Jason tugged at her sleeve, whining, "Mom, can we just go home?" His voice was weak, embarrassed. He didn't even want to fight anymore. Karen muttered something under her breath, grabbed his hand, and stormed off toward her house, dragging her muddy son along the path. Each step she took, shoulders stiff, was a silent admission of defeat. The neighbors lingered, a couple chuckling under their breath. One clapped me on the shoulder. "You handled that perfectly. Maybe now she'll finally learn." I smiled. Maybe, but if not, the mud's always there to remind them. And with that, peace returned to my pond. Jason had learned that trespassing carried consequences far messier than he expected. And Karen? She learned something even harder, that no amount of yelling or threatening could change the simple truth. My land is my land, and respect isn't optional. Guys, this is just the beginning! If you don't want to miss the next part, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell, so you'll be the first to hear the next insane twist in this Karen saga.